Hi everyone, welcome. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Monday, October 4th, 2021, and today's topic is called Sky Playground. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening September 29th through October 1st, 2021, and today is show number 121. And before we get into those sky observations, I'd like to say good day, Osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobrohonya, annyeonghaseyo, botaji, dobry den, aloha, winala, galimera, guten dag, and good day. And today's starter image is combined with the words Wisdom Spirit of the Day page. And I have to say I am Northern Hemisphere located and centric right now, so I put fall in love with life again. But obviously to all the friends in the Southern Hemisphere, I want to say spring back to life again. And for all of us to just shake off the hibernation and the sleepy spell that seems to be cast upon the world, and just to fully wake up and live life. Live it fully free and shining brightly, breathing in and out deeply as we wish, and, going about fearless, no fear, and just really engage in life as you wish, regardless of what's going on in the world, outer appearances of the world going on around you. All that to say too, I just wanted to include this. This came up on to my attention to include today the full meaning or a fuller description of Namaste, because if you take a really quick look on the internet these days, it just says like a bow to somebody else or like a bowing to the divine in somebody else, which is all fine and good. But this description, this little definition I like even better. And it goes like this. My soul honors your soul. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the light, love, truth, beauty, and peace within you, because it is also within me. In sharing these things, we are united. We are the same. We are one. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. That speaks for itself. And let's move along in this in good harmony. So the image here is just of a fallen, dried ficus lyrata leaf, because I'm in the northern hemisphere, but I'm also in subtropical to tropical South Florida, where we essentially don't have a fall really. So we're not like the rest of the North America. We have like dead leaves will fall every now and then, things will shed at really off times, so it's not like this is a great fall here right now either. Anyway, let's move into the sky observations. So whether you are new or returning to this channel, thank you so much for being here, right now. If you're returning, you might want to skip this bit for a few minutes. I'm just going to go over the basics for anybody who's new, and if you'd like to know. I'm going to give more in-depth intro in some of my previous videos. Because of the length of this particular show, there are quite a few slides. I'm going to, make this intro a little shorter than usual, and I might go through the show a little faster than usual as well. Anyhow, all that to say, all I'm doing here is going about my daily business, my comings and goings, or if I just feel a certain call or am drawn to go outside and look up, I go and look up. I look 360 degrees around me, and I take some pictures with a camera phone. And sometimes it's because I see something to the naked eye that just looks really bizarre and strange for our skies, and we've had a lot of strangeness and anomalies happening in our skies, especially like increasing at a rapid rate since 2018. I first had inklings of things weren't quite right with what's going up up in our sky compared to decades past. First had the inkling about 2014, but then I kind of really didn't think much further about it, and then I got a real wake-up call literally in 2018 to start really focusing more intently. But I've also heard of other people really noticing things in 2010, 2012, and whatnot. All that to say, I'm documenting it and sharing it with you and whoever wishes to see it. So I take the photos and then I enhance them. And when I say enhanced, it just means I've edited attributes of the photo, such as color, saturation, brightness, and contrast, maybe the color temperature, and that's it. I just up the levels a little or lower them a little. And when I do that, you see a whole new world of things pop up in the photos, some more so than others. So I also drop in letters just to kind of highlight key elements of a photo that I might not want to miss. Because in some of these photos and images, there's just going to be so much going on. And then I always invite you to kind of look on your own time when you have more time to really see what else you might find in the photos. When I say strange cloud activity in the lower right-hand corner, it's just referring to I'm suspecting cloak and craft is going on up in the skies, and yes, I'm going to say advanced ET technology. I explained why in previous shows. The cloud, when I say cloud, that's referring to plasma is my go-to for the cloaking material. And that just means something heavier and denser than water vapor that lingers around in the sky longer and does a great job at cloaking things. Also, there's going to be a wide array of different color signatures going on too. And I invite you to look at the description box below to look at what could be causing when I talk about the red-pink color signatures in particular. All right, I'm going to start moving along now, and I think you'll kind of catch on the gist of things if you're new to this as we go along. All right, so first of all, we're just looking to the west-southwest at around, just before sunset, really. And I just noticed this a lot of odd things happening in the scene, and we're going to jump to the enhanced version. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. We're going to jump to the enhanced version, actually, just to better look at things. But I noticed a lot of strange things. So we've got this bar kind of coming across here with some strange activity bursting off of it this way. We have these odd little standalone fragments, things kind of rising up vertically when really nothing should be doing that. And none of this, by the way, even looks like typical quote-unquote cloud. Nothing looks like some standard cloud form that you could point to in the book and say, like, that's cumulus or this is this. Because they're very misshapen, they're very odd, have a very different consistency than cumulus clouds of decades past. And we've got straight lines happening here, like here at the bottom. We have a triangular form here. We have something like shooting off this way. And again, if it were typical cloud formations, they would just be moving evenly and consistently across the sky, and that's not happening either. We've got motion, like, shooting up in different directions, dead level, going vertical. There's a lot here to suggest there's cloak and craft happening all over the place. And then we have here too, like this top of a triangular form. Anyway, we're going to move along. This is still looking at that same scene. We're going to just spend time on the upper photo. This is a panorama spanning from the northwest to the southwest. Northwest is to the right, southwest is to the left. And so the original photo is below. And so when we enhance it and look at it, the upper version, we just see, a little bit more glaring, like, how is this arcing down this way? And these things are like, moving in all different directions from each other. So again, it's highly suspect that there's going to be cloak and craft going on in the sky. So that catches my attention, that type of thing. So now we're just zooming in on this, this A and B areas and C. We're going to take a look at that. And look over here where my cursor is. This is a pure triangular imprint. Look at that angle this way, angle this way, angle this way. That just does not happen in nature in a natural cloud system. We also have something curious kind of, pushing off of here, and I'm suspecting that that's actually cloak and craft as well. And so when I really blow this out, I blow out I blow out the brightness. And just to kind of get at what is the essence, what's going on behind this triangular cloud, in quotes. And we start to see other forms. So another triangular form here and a triangular form here. And again, they're too perfect and symmetrical just to be something formed in nature. So I'm going to say that's intelligent design, that's advanced ET design. And it's either a craft that you could power, you could maneuver it, whether it's a manned or personed type craft. Or like I say, it could also be some other kind of object we don't really understand what it is, or it could be instrumentation or sensors or something. I'm not sure. But see what you think on this. Okay, then we're going to look at looking east now, and there's just all these little things happening. This is around the same time as the photo we just viewed. And here, like at sea, we start to see a crescent, a triangle here with like a vapor trail behind it, this thing coming down doing its own thing. So we look to the right. Actually, even up here, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 5-sided object, so a pentagon, okay, elongated pentagon, the imprint of one. We have clear corners and clear angles. Anyway, we're going to look to the right. I don't really focus on that, but it's up here. But look at 8.1. What is this thing doing? It even looks like it's like jettisoned out from somewhere. It's, got movement to it. I really don't know what that is. It's very interesting. Then we have this thing too. It's like moving downward. It's a pure triangle. This has a different color signature. It's gray, and it's got like a tube or some kind of like jet thing on the back, it looks like. And then we have a pure crescent, like a backward crescent moon. So what the heck is going on? And these are darker in color, even though this is all right in the same proximity of each other. So that doesn't make sense either because of light physics. There's no way this was generated just by, a natural process of light physics. And then we have this thing. We've got all this like wispy-like stuff with this imprint. It almost looks like there's a deeper hole in here too, like this thing came out of like a portal or something. Anyway, see what you think. That's a little mystifying on that one. Here we're just going to take another slightly different view. So here's that thing where it looked like something just dropped out of it, that triangle. And here's that, crescent moon again. Something strange happening here. See what you think is happening in there as well. Then we move to this particular little, again, I'm going to say cloud in quotes because that's not a typical cumulus cloud. It's all falling apart, like disintegrated in places, different colors, So we're going to look at this with enhancement. Look at 8.1. That's a pure triangular form too. This one looks more interdimensional a little bit, like it looks like ephemeral, like it's phasing in and out of state or something. See what you think is going on here. Then we're going to look at this one, and we'll just jump to the enhancement. Now this one gets interesting because we're going to focus on 8.1. We're going to hop up to 8.2. And it just has defined lines. Look at this, takes a right angle here, and it has shadow and it has like highlight points. And so it just looks too like machine part-like just to be, again, that's not a haphazard cloud feature. That's got, purpose to it, intelligent design to it. So I'm calling this, once again, cloak and craft. Then we have these brighter white points that pop out, and as I've covered in other shows, to me that means there's some kind of tech in there, or it's crystalline structure. There's some other type of, phenomenon happening in there. But either way, it all points to some kind of cloak and craft or something with intelligent design to it. See what you think is happening. We've got these dead level things happening over here side by side. And this thing too looks like it has like a little trail popping out behind it. So to me, all of these are like 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 elements of cloak and craft. Maybe this one beyond 2. There's something weird, like a weird indentation happening here. See what you think. All right, then we're going to look at this grouping. Let's jump to the right-hand side at the enhanced version. Look at 8.1 and B.1. They stand out as being much brighter. They're right here with this cloud, and yet they don't carry any of the gold tone or the gray tone. So I'm calling these separate animals in their own right. Again, they're objects. I'm saying they're objects with intelligent design. Because if you have a regular cloud assembly moving along with normal wind, and on this day there was really like little to no wind at all, you can't possibly have these things just popping up, vertically out of something that's just supposedly carrying across horizontal. So that's why I say that's very suspect as being cloaking objects, whether, again, it's a craft or sensors or something of some other tech type. Then we look at C.1, and not only do we have this weird darker shape that looks like it's being cloaked because this is cascading over the front of it, also we have a little triangular piece right there, and I think right here as well. See what you think's happening. Then we're going to look at this one, looking east-northeast, and we've got these weird, elongated wedge shapes or triangular shapes happening in here, even at A. So we're going to look at this with enhancement, and here we go. That's a pure triangular form. There's one back here as well and one in the middle. And so, again, you can't have these little perfect triangles happening in a normal cloud system. So it implies something with intelligence is happening. And then again, we get these white bits popping out. So that tells me there's other little machine parts and things happening in here. That looks like a part of a tube. So it's very interesting. Oh, sorry, I'm going to go back. And then you also see this reddish, signature happening here, but really nowhere else, even though, again, these would have picked up the same color ranges, where they are in proximity to each other in the sky, and yet they do not. This is also too weird. This looks like an old-fashioned telephone handset, where you'd hear and speak here, holding the little phone handset. Anyway, very curious. And this also has the triangular forms, 3 of them. So what's going on here? Don't know exactly. See what you think. All right, this gets real interesting. So what caught my attention in the distance to the south was these weird forms kind of all over the place, stand alone, and they weren't happening anywhere else. Then obviously this trail, which at first I thought is a chemtrail, but it might just be a cloaking craft, like a trail put in there to cloak craft, is what I think it is. So I don't think it's a typical chemical trail, filled trail. And I cover what chemtrails are in earlier shows if you're not familiar with that concept. Also, please, as always, I ask everyone to look at other Earth and Sky watching channels on YouTube out there to see and compare notes to what's happening around the world. It's just other people like myself going out and directly observing what's going on in our skies. And it's very telling, and it's stuff you're not going to hear on mainstream media. So do check all of that out, please. So anyway, caught my attention because we've got this straight line going this way. Again, these are coming horizontal, and then we have these weird little things happening beyond. So I was just suspect that there's something more than meets the eye, and that's where our enhancement comes in handy, because these digital cameras, phone cameras, are great because our human eye can only see so much at the moment, and the camera tech, it just gives a greater range of photo and light sensitivity, so it helps pop some of this stuff out. So look at this. It turns out my feeling that there's more than meets the eye is going on back there is correct. Because look at, we have a straight line going straight parallel with this line. So that's, that's generated by something willfully. That's, again, no haphazard creation in the sky. And then these are coming across, and they all carry the same color signatures. Very interesting. And then these things start to look very interesting too down below. So we're going to take a look zoomed in. And then again, I'm going to go straight to the highlight version, because look at this. This is the pure triangle at D. And we go to D.1 and we see it even clearer. So there's no way cloud forms would just do this in a cluster like this. And then these start to look very interesting as well. So this is going to be one of those ones I'm going to leave for you to look a little more in your own time. Really note the color signatures on this one, because we've got like indigo blue, and then this fades into like purples and other kind of colors. So it shows you something different is happening in here than over here. So take a good look, see what you see. We also have a brighter highlight point over here with a like a perfect curve and shadow to it. So shows that there's something intelligent with intelligent design hiding behind this cloaking material as well. Okay, this gets really interesting, looking to the west, to sunset, and I saw these shadowy figures, and again, this is all in the same plane, really, in the sky, in the same altitude. So why do we have these really smoky tracings? And I covered this in other shows. They seem almost interdimensional, and this one has specific structure and movement to it. So we're going to take a look, because we've got this dark smoky stuff, then we have this like, reddish pink, and then these orange, peach, gold happening, and it's something doing its own thing up here. So we're going to look with enhancement, and here we go. We have so many different elements happening at once, and how mysterious are these things at A.1 and C.1? We have a little slight ripple effect happening in here, down here as well, like a weird smudge out. So I definitely see a whole bunch of layers of interdimensional things happening here. Let's see what you think. Let's see what you see. Now this is the same view, but I'm just highlighting the part up here. The way I do the enhancement, sometimes it catches one half of the photo and the other, depending on how dark or light it is. So we're going to go up here, and this is looking very, very odd. We're going to cover it coming up in other slides, so I'm going to keep moving. And here it is. So it has an overall triangular shape. It looks like it's zooming on angle with like a vapor trail behind it. And so here we go. With enhancement, we see there's also something here pretty distinct. Not only this thing. It's really bizarre. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but it looks like, again, it has intelligent design. You're going to keep hearing me say that like a broken record. Intelligent design, plus cloak and craft. But look at it. It almost has like a dome shape that's symmetrical with this little nib or whatever that is on the top, or knob. And then, it curves below here. Again, a very symmetrical element. And I'm not sure what these brighter flash points are. But again, see what you think. And then we got these two lines, very curious. They're parallel, moving this way. So I think these are two different objects. Maybe they're more beyond. See what you think. This one's really fascinating. We're looking northwest, north to northwest. And I just hardly made out this kind of pink signature doing something weird. And I know enough by now that, look at this color. This should be like a much brighter blue. There is so much particulate and veiling in the sky that's making it like whitish, very pale blue by comparison of what it should be. And so that tells me that there is something like cloaking behind all of that misty veil, whatever it is. So we look to the right, and sure enough, look at this pure form with this red-pink signature, and then this thing below it. That's pretty striking and amazing. And it looks like this thing is curved. Look at that perfect curve. So what the heck is the story behind this? I'm not sure, but it's pretty dang fascinating. That probably actually could have been the cover as well for the show. Okay, now we're going to go back over to the west and look at our gray smoky tracings and interdimensional activity, as I call it. And look at this. We have this thing shooting up this way on angle. We have something that looks like it's launching up out of this, in this direction. Structure here. We got a bar and like another bar here banking off at another angle, almost, almost right angle. And then down here at D, we have this like arrow, multiple arrowhead shaped thing moving off to the right. So again, that's not typical cloud activity. And then we look at it with enhancement, and you can see the structure I was looking at here more clearly. And then we have these things, these little, triangular things popping up out of this. This is a weird, mysterious little object there, too. Anyway, enough strangeness is here to really take a look at. I'm going to leave this to you to look further on your own time as well. And look at this, very rigid structure here, though. These little spine-like things, they have dimension, they have shadow. What the heck? I'm just going to put a huge question mark on this one, see what you think is happening. Okay, this is a little bit mappy and out of focus, just because it was getting dim and my camera can only do so much. But this is still looking off at that scene, except now a little more distance away and looking over the trees. But I still think it's worth showing, even though it's going to be a little bit muted. Look at this. So we have a clear object here. 8.1 is either a triangle in its own right with a trail that is like zoomed along down to 8.1, or I think we're just seeing the tip of an overall perfect symmetrical craft with a little shroud of a little wafting, piece swirl of the plasma cloaking coming in front of it. So the more I look at it, this is just one, overall, like a wing, like a wing-shaped craft is what I'm going to say. I'm not sure what this darker thing is moving around, whether that's like an appendage or equipment like attached to this thing, or if this is some other entity now moving in the scene in front of this craft. You be the judge on that. But we also get this mysterious red-pink signature here. See what you think is going on with that scene. Then we're going to look to the east, and this is just to demonstrate, something's happening with the color of the sun. So do look up the concept of solar simulator or artificial sun if you're not familiar with it already, and you'll understand what we're getting at here. And so, so I'm coming back. So here is, at 7:33 in the morning looking east, and, you see a little bit of warmth to the sun rising, and we see a weird, just standalone cloud, like doing its own thing, kind of coming in front of where the sun is. I talk about that whole phenomenon in plenty of other shows, so have a look around some of my earlier shows to get a little more description on it. But now, 12 minutes later, look at this. It's pure white. So again, this is evidence supporting the concept of a solar simulator, or not even the concept that a solar simulator is being employed in our skies. It's veiling and kind of passing over our original sun, and it takes over and turns glaring and white and grows really large. So you have no evidence anymore of our original sun beyond with the golden warm glow of our original sun. Anyway, I'm going to go back one more time. So focus on the left-hand side actually for now. I'm going back one. So here we have a little warmer tone, and 12 minutes later it gets to be pure white. Okay, we're going to move along. Now this is looking south in the morning, and there's just some strange things. It just felt weird. So again, I not only just see things and document them, but I also, if I have a weird feeling, I'll just take a picture even if I don't readily see it, because I know when I get to the enhancements I'm going to see stuff pop out. So what really caught my attention was D, because this form had a point here, and it had like what looked like two wings or something looked symmetrical here. And so we get into the enhancement, and I kind of lost that particular element, but I found something even more interesting. Look at this thing, this pattern of this thing sweeping down through here. Looks like these elements have structure to them, so I'll leave this to you to look at a little bit further on your own. Now we're looking south, and again, similar to one of those other earlier slides, just saw this stuff, and it just told me, just my gut level was saying there's something going on more than meets the eye. So we look to the right, and then we can see. Now these kind of fall into the category I talk about in other shows of more like the air elementals or sky wisps, I think. I'm not even sure that this is like concrete engineered tech so much as it is some type of cosmic phenomenon. But see what you think. But again, we've got an element coming more level, this coming down on an angle. Definitely looks like this is just more than, some type of haphazard cloud. This might also be part of one overall craft, and these are different elements of it cloaking, like on the surface deck, if you will. See what you think and see how you see it. All right, this gets real interesting because on the left-hand side, again, there's so much heavy particulate and fine particulate in the sky, which, should be much bluer. It's just this like paled out version of it. But I still saw some remote things happening in the background. And what caught my attention were these parallel lines. Excuse me. So we look to the right-hand side, and we kind of see something emerging in the distance. To me, that's totally a craft. And then here we have these parallel lines. So there's something else happening mysterious in here. So see what you see in there. I don't know if we're looking at like a craft oncoming, and this is like the deck above, like the bridge of the craft, or if we're looking at separate elements. Not sure. See what you think. All right, now we're going to look west, and this gets interesting, and this is the cover slide. So I'm going to go back one. I just noticed a slight red-pink hue here, and again, we're looking west in the morning now, and there was nothing in the sky opposing it, diametrically opposed on the horizon to create that red glow. So that tells me there's something standalone and generating right in here, and something weird starting to happen at B. And what really caught my attention was this whole cloud part here was an otherworldly like a ethereal blue-white light glowing out of it. And I've seen this only a few times in the course of like the past 3 years of intently looking. It's just you notice a part of the sky lights up and it just seems, otherworldly. That's all I can say. So anyway, here we go, and the otherworldly part is when it gets to be this cyan. And so there, we've got this weird little shape in front, and this starts to look like a bigger shape beyond in the cyan part. But look at this, we get a sphere now, and we've got the red-pink signature, and then look at this, we got these three little, parallel purple, purple signature too, so something's going on here with intelligence. And then we've got the plasma material, the cloaking material kind of coming in front of it. That's what I see anyway, see what you see. Now we're going to look to the southeast, and again, just some weird forms, because this is coming straight across, this is diving down. This is a perfect, like a pointed ellipse, elongated pointed ellipse. Again, doesn't happen in natural cloud systems, just moving along like this. Then we start to get a hint of a triangular form at A, so there's enough to say, let's enhance this thing and take a look. 8.1, we see that triangular form, pure and true and symmetrical, applies intelligent design. This thing banking down, again, how does something like bend like that if it's a cloud? That's a technical piece, a machine part or something. And then we have this thing pitching up, we've got an elongated triangle here. Look at D.1, this looks like it's phasing in and out of state or something. And again, look at this long tubular piece, that's not a normal cloud, it's also got a different color. And now it even looks like it's attaching to this thing. So it looks like that's like a little, what do you call it? Like a docking post or something holding this thing. I don't know. But they are connected, or something's going on between these two. And then, we've got, look at this form. And then this stuff is lighter in front of it that looks like cloaking material, as this is the more pure form. And we got this little weird thing going on angle this way. This is an interesting scene. Have a look around more if you can. See what you see. Okay, this was truly interesting. Looking east, southeast again at sunrise, 7:33 in the morning. I just saw this big wall of stuff that looked highly unusual, very misty, very otherworldly going on in here. And so we looked to the right to try to see what more we can find. And I really just see at, B.1, this little element over at B, it's just strange. It's doing its own thing. It looks like something's been cloaked in there and it has a little trail behind it. We get this otherworldly color and things happening in here. And so, I don't know. I just presented this. Can't pull out too much, other than there's enough going on in here to show me there's definitely cloak and craft happening. There's a little bit here that seems kind of solid. Then we're going to zoom in, looking at A to 8.1. Really, I just want to show you this triangle piece down here. So at 8.1, that's a pure triangle getting backlit by whatever's going on with the quote-unquote sun. Then we're going to look over toward the north a little bit from where we were looking at the sun. So what we just saw was like behind this palm tree. And again, look up here where my cursor is. That was that otherworldly cyan blue light again, cyan white light. So we look to the right, and with enhancement, I really was shocked on this one. Because A, we already start to see there's like a arrowhead shaped form with a trail behind it. But you really see it with the color signature change here at 8.1. It's greenish yellow with a trail behind it. And then we look at B.1, and what the heck is going on here? This is going straight vertical down to this, round form. And again, really pay attention to the red, pink color signatures here. Then this was really interesting because we looked to the west also at sunrise, and there was no rain this day. So there were some like shadowy clouds, yes, but no rain, and really from what I could tell, no moisture really in the air. But again, look up here, we've got that cyan color, something otherworldly is going on up there. And I've been suspecting lately this is also extremely low where it never is, this low. And I've, in previous shows too, I'm starting to kind of put together a pattern that I think some of these are being created by cloak and craft. they're not like a natural phenomenon, again, because no rain, no real vivid moisture content in the sky, certainly not at this altitude. So when we look at it with enhancement, this one gets really interesting because this all in here starts to look like something very interdimensional is going on. And so I am still going to say that, and here, look at perfect triangular imprint. If you really look, there's a line carved out here, a straight line here, and one coming back here, and that's where this rainbow is dying into or starting from. So again, I'm starting to think that these are little gifts or little winks from Cloak and Craft above, like a little hello, I see you seeing me type of thing. There's also like these, the more I look, there's like elliptical forms here, like the ends of tubes, 1, 2, 3. So I'm starting to believe that, how in areas where they have wheat fields and different crops, which we don't have here, I'm starting to believe that some of these are little sky signals or little winks to us, to show that there is more going on, in our entire universe, and to wake up and really see it. And especially in locations where they can't just simply make a crop circle, but we have the whole sky as a canvas, and I think they're using it. Some type of intelligent life is using it. So it's really a beautiful thing. See what you think, or, feel out what you think about that concept. And look in your area and see if you're noticing any of this too. And here we go, we'll just spend time on the right-hand side. So we even have an echo of a rainbow. And again, I've never seen doubled rainbows until we've been seeing them all over the world lately, if you look on YouTube at the other Earth and Sky watching channels. But this was never a thing when I grew up and living on this planet for decades. And now it's all suddenly coming to the fore. And so here we see a shadow. 8.1 is a shadowy figure of some type of triangular object being cloaked. And yet again here, so here we see there's some kind of imprint where this is emanating out of or going into. And then over here too, again, we get this kind of overlay of like interdimensional activity happening. Once again, see what you think is going on. And look at the color signatures. So up here it's really golden, and here it's really in shadow, even though it's all in the same proximity. Okay, this gets interesting, really interesting, looking to the east, again at sunrise. Look at this weird shadow coming out of here, this sharp line. And then what was really strange was we had a triangular cloud, another echoed triangular cloud. This is coming straight vertical up. We have a trail of other kind of, I don't know what, because it's not cloud, coming down this way. And then we have this arm banking off on a sharp angle. Now, I have not seen anything like this in the last 3 years especially. So let's look at the right-hand side. Looks like we have something moving in or out of this mist. And this mist is not in any way, shape, or form a natural cloud form. It's artificial, so how it's being generated by what, I'm not sure, but I know that's not a natural thing happening. And then look right here. Look at this thing. It's got a straight line at the bottom. It goes straight up. And then look at this. What's going on at B.1? I think we're going to zoom in. Yeah, so look at this, A and B. We're going to take a look at this with some enhancement. Look at this coming off of this cloud. There's no way that's natural. And so here we go. 8.1 above, we see a symmetrical form. Pure line here, triangular form, but also something symmetrical. So it almost looks like a craft diving downward. Something weird's happening over here, my cursor is. Anyway, we've got a perfect little arrowhead shape here. And then we look off at this thing, and we have darker points, but look at B.1. We're going to zoom in on this thing. It looks like a top of like a little boat with a dorsal fin that looks like exactly like a dolphin's fin or a whale fin, like a killer whale fin, orca fin. So let's take a look at this with zooming in a little bit more, enhanced a little differently. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. And so look at this thing overall at B.2. I mean, that's pretty wild. That's a perfect little curved little, dorsal fin, or it looks like if you flipped a surfboard over, on the bottom side, a little bit like that. And then we've got this pointed elliptical thing, and, this looks like another craft. See what you think is going on. That one's pretty wild. And then we get this, like, little skinny thing happening down here coming in and out of, like, cloaking material. So to me, that's also some type of object. All right, then we look to the west-southwest, again, still in the morning, same time frame, a few minutes later. And look at A, it just started to look like a perfect ball. So we look to the right with enhancement, and we see it, made a little more egg-shaped. And this might be a hole where my cursor is, or just something darker happening in there. And it also has, like, it looks like almost like it came diving down toward the 8.1 thing, because we have a different like stream of light, and the way that this stuff is moving looks like it just kind of popped in from somewhere and is like hanging over here. Anyway, see what you think is going on in this scene. It's just bizarre. It's like a perfect form. And then, speaking of bizarre, southeast looking around still the same time in the morning. This thing, again, is just like doing its own thing and lifting straight up. This little phenomenon is happening too, like on the cover of the show called Rising Salmon, or Salmon Rising. I forget which way I said it. Anyway, I think it's Rising Salmon. Again, if clouds are just kind of moving around doing their own thing, you're not going to have something predominantly moving one way and then something going straight up off of it. So that tells me it's cloak and craft. And the more you look at this, it looks like a wedge-shaped craft. This overall thing comes to a point. But we're going to just focus on what's going on with A first. And then we have this thing like curving, doing its own thing, might be the end of a tube. So there's definitely some type of intelligent activity happening in the area. Here's with some enhancement just to get a better look at everything. I'm going to keep moving on this one. Look when you have a little more time on your own. And then look at this. So I'm going to go back. We go from 8.1. This is at 7:41 in the morning. And then 2 minutes later, it disintegrates to this. So once again, I'm going to go back. Look at 8.1. It's all puffy. And then like a few minutes later, this is what it becomes. And then we look at it with enhancement, and there we go. So it's lifted up, and then it just like vanished into something else. Then we have these weird circular forms happening at C.1. So that's some type of cloak and craft or part of a bigger assembly. Hard to say. See what you think. Then this just looked interesting. Looking up, again, it's almost like heart-shaped, like a flattened heart shape. So I thought it was interesting. Also, some of the color signatures beyond were really that bright, otherworldly cyan once again. So I thought, let's enhance this, see what else we can see. I don't get too much more other than this looks like a pair of triangles, perfect triangles back here, and that's a point of a perfect triangle. Otherwise, I don't think I got to too much more, but maybe you can see more than what I'm seeing. Then this scene looking southeast. Okay, so that was this weird arm thing that's now disintegrating and turning into different pieces and different shapes. So, and then we get this weird finger-like motion, shadowy imprint of a triangle here. Just weird stuff. So we're going to look to the right-hand side, see what we can see. We just get some weird things here on the profile. So this whole thing is strange. This is not a typical cloud. But we get this weird form, definite like shape here, and something strange happening in here. We're going to look at that in a close-up in a minute. And then down here where that arm was, that bar, now we see like this is like an imprint of an elongated triangle and other weird things happening in there. So it morphed into something strange. So now we're going to zoom in on that where we had these like perfect little cookie cutter cut out pieces. They're very specific. So again, I'm going to say that's some type of cloaking objects. And then we go to this scene looking east, and then we see the edge of this with this weird mist vapor stuff, which again is not natural cloud. We also see an imprint forming at C, which is looking very symmetrical. So we look to the right, and we kind of see it. It's getting covered up a little bit by some cloaking material. But this is definitely a symmetrical cutout shape, in this quote-unquote cloud. And just strange what's going on here at the tip of this thing. Hang on 1 second again. Okay, I'm back. And this is a panorama looking north to northwest. We're going to pop up, actually, is it north or northwest? Sorry, this is, we're looking east to northwest. So east is to the right, northwest is to the left. And look up above at the highlight version, so the enhanced version. Look at this. We've got this weird, looks again triangular with other stuff and forms happening, or it's part of a bigger triangle here if you follow my cursor, and we're just seeing part poking out of all of the cloak and cover. And then we have a little faded triangle back here. We have weird little shapes popping in the back. A straight line coming down here with something popping out of, this cloaking material. And look at this thing. So it's arcing, and then we have a triangular form here at B.1. Very odd. And what's really odd is this E.1. It's the outline of a triangular form. Then we're going to look at another panorama. And so this is northeast to northwest. And we have, again, the triangular form. And look, what is going on here? This is some type of composite of a lot of tech and machine parts. Because look at this arm comes down. Is this one overall like wing-like craft form? And these are like appendages and things sticking out of it? Or is it like a wing-like mothership and like other little craft are hanging onto it? like remoras on a shark, you know. And then what is this up at D? So again, it looks more like it has triangular character to it, but yet something else is happening, either just past it or it's part of the same thing. Just really bizarre stuff happening in the sky. And speaking of that, look at this. Look to the right. I mean, it's just so bizarre. This is not normal clouds. And so what catches my attention here, you know, the left is the original, obviously, is just how choppy and fuzzy to the human eye it is. I call that staccato cloud or staccato cloud effect or staccato effect. Yes, it's a musical term implying choppiness or dissonance, cacophony kind of. But look, everything else is in focus, and this is how it was to the naked eye. So we look to the right-hand side, and it's still, you know, this fuzziness. And look at the red-pink signature emerging again. So that tells me something's happening here local of an advanced tech variety. And look at this thing. So we have like this, it almost looks like a hand or an arm with a hand coming around to grab something. Really, really bizarre. And then we have this thing trailing, you know, going, banking on this angle and then coming down on this angle, very straight. Again, this isn't unnatural. See what you think it is. And as always, I invite you, whether you have a very rational, logical explanation for this or a total fantastical one or cloud play one for fun, let me know in the comment section below if you like. This one again, another stumper. What the heck is going on? Oh, I'm going to go back one. And also look at this pure little form here, this perfect pointed ellipse. You know, just, yeah, again, this is mind-boggling. Okay, now more mind-boggling things looking to the east. Look at this thing. It's coming down like a funnel and then bam, coming across horizontal. So we look to the right at the enhanced version. What the heck is going on here? We got a lot of momentum. We got a lot of energy in this thing. We've got not red-pink, but like pink-purple now. And look how straight this thing is. You know, this has a lot of elements to it that say there's cloak and craft. And look how it's moving up. You know, I don't know if this is one wedge shape here. It looks like this is symmetrical. Looks like two wings on something diving downward. And we have a perfect circle here. Weird things happening at C.1. Anyway, we're going to keep looking. Now we're going to look at the landscape format of this photo. And we see other things happening off to the side of this like thing coming down, this funnel thing coming down. And these are, you know, coming on angle. A lot of weird things happening. We look at it with enhancement. Wow, we can really see a lot is going on. Actually, I was toying with putting this one as the cover slide. 8.1 coming down this way looks like a standalone craft, a very straight line. We have a little outline of a triangle over here. There's something very mysterious happening beyond here. It looks very interdimensional like. But again, we see this diving form coming down. It almost looks like, if you look at it, if this were like an eye, the outline of an eye, it almost looks like a fish-like shape diving down with a big fin on the top. Anyway, it's really bizarre. What is the relationship between this, which could be like an elongated wedge with some kind of docking arm or something with another ship on it? That's what I'm thinking. Because look how skinny and look how, you know, precise it like dovetails into this thing. What's going on with these weird tracings? I don't know. But again, you tell me what this is if it's not cloak and craft, because this is not going to happen in a natural cloud system this low, especially in altitude in subtropical to tropical Florida. No way. All right, now this gets even more mystifying because now we're looking to the west, and this is a pure, you know, curved form. It's actually kind of doubled. And we don't get these kinds of clouds, again, in subtropical to tropical Florida. This low in the atmosphere, there's no cold air to create this. Anyway, we're going to look at it with enhancement, and look how fluid that is. You know, it's beautiful curved form. It also kind of billows out here, curved echoes. And then look at this coming through. Look at this, it almost look, if you're from South Florida, you know what a churro is, or in Mexico. But it looks like the grooves on the side of a churro, deep fried, you know, what do you call, like a pastry thing. Anyway, it's coming across like this, and it looks like it swirls in this way a little bit. It's just really bizarre. Okay, now we're going to look at the east, so we're going to flip gears. That was toward the west. We're going to look to the east. And so while we've got that curve thing going on, we've got this going on. So we have a shape moving downward vertical, something coming across horizontal. This is pitched on an angle, which looks like a pointed ellipse. And we've got a perfect triangular form here at C. We've got ripples, you know, like parallel lines. This thing is crazy. It's all over the place. And then we add the color signatures to it, and we get, again, where we shouldn't have a warm tone like this. And this looks part of a more massive thing diving down, you know, kind of lurking in the background in the distance. And then look at this. What's going on here? We've got like a trapezoidal figure with echoing lines. things happening here too in a triangular form. And then again, this thing coming down, straight down. Is this not bizarre? I don't think it can't just be me. I've got this on camera, you know. And then look at this pointed ellipse, but it also like fractures off into this thing. So, you know, tell me what you think this is, or just think it to yourself. But I'm just fascinated. This is so incredible of what's going on in our skies. I think you have to agree, they're definitely anomalies. Okay, so then we're going to look at this scene a little bit more. And look what happens here. I'm going to go back one. So here we start to see a little bit of a shape and a line coming down this way. What gets really interesting is the color signatures. Look at this burst, you know. And actually it looks like this whole thing, this egg-shaped thing, moved out from the upper right-hand corner, because look at this white, you know, whiter swath. It just looks like that's the energy burst of it diving down this way. So I think that is, this whole thing is an object, and it's being cloaked or, you know, kind of hidden behind whatever's coming over this way. Weird things are happening down here too. Have a look longer on your own when you have a little more time. Oh, and over here, this gets really interesting because there's a perfect hole right here. That's a perfect hole carved out of whatever this is. And that doesn't happen in a natural cloud system. No way. All right, now we're going to look west, and this gets really weird. So not only was this so intensely bright and white and glaring, as I talk about the solar simulator, that's what it is. You can hardly even look at it. The shadows on the ground, everything looks weird because it's missing the golden hues of our normal original sun. But even beyond all of that strangeness, we have something weird forming up in here that looked unnatural. And then we have this huge line sweeping down this way. Look at that, like whatever's creating that, I don't know. Because again, everything's pretty fixed. It wasn't even windy. And even if there were a current moving through, it would not make a specific line swooping down like this. So we're going to look at it with enhancement. Can't get to too much more, but what's creating that track or that motion. But we start to look at 8.1 in a little more detail. We're going to look at a couple more things. Going back here, this blue thing, turquoise, blue, green, that's just the lens flare on that one. So we know that 8.1 is not a lens flare because that's it right there. Then we're going to move, here again is our lens flare, doing weird things to the left and right of that one. But anyway, again, we're going to look at these elements A, B, and C. You know, we look to the right with enhancement, we start to see some significant, definite structure here. We get a little bit of a weird blue beam going off this way. That's nothing to do with the lens flare. So that's interesting to look and watch out for. And then we have some strange movement and object-like things happening over here. And we're going to look at it again when you look to the right. We really start to see a structure happening here at C.2. We're going to keep going. And what gets really interesting is this little weird structure here. Now it's C.3. But look at this. We get this almost like a swirl effect around this. Like this is the center, and these are arms of a galaxy swirling around it. Or like, you know, almost like rings around a planet. It's just really weird. I've not seen this before in this area, especially not this low in the sky. And so here we're going to look at it. I couldn't really get at too much more of what's going on that with the ring effect swirling around. But, you know, again, we're going to take a look at this C.4 element. It's definitely an object, you know, with stuff kind of coming off of it. We're going to look at it, I think, one more time. We're going to look at that in closer detail. Anyway, this whole scene was just really bizarre around the sun. So, yeah, now we're going to move in C.5. Yeah, it's a little grainy, but you can tell something is going on just above the quote-unquote sun. You know, we have a pure triangular form here. We've got weird things here that looks like a hole. Actually, it looks like the end of a needle, like a sewing needle. If the, you know, the needle part was going down this way, that looks like the eye that you thread things through. Anyway, looks like there's, you know, deliberate structure happening in here and symmetry and other little, you know, kind of designed points. So I'm going to call that cloaking craft or cloaking object or instrumentation. Then this gets weird too, looking northwest. So looking at this scene, we have these lines. Look at this, you know, that's like no natural cloud. And they're coming up on angle as this is coming across, as this is coming down. Weird stuff happening up in here. A weird like object looming in the background. So we're going to look at it with enhancement and look at this. So this thing, if you squint your eyes, if you're looking at this on a laptop, I forgot to mention that I go ahead and narrate this show on a laptop screen. And if I were to narrate the show just looking at a smaller handheld device like a phone, I probably would talk about very different things. Because depending on your perspective, if you're like zoomed up in scale or really reduced down to thumbnail, you're going to see a lot of different things. So in this case, If you're on a laptop, just squint your eyes because you'll see a little bit better. But we've got 3 lines parallel coming down off of this thing, and this looks like wings, like, with like a little rounded element here. It looks very symmetrical. So I'm going to call that a craft. And then I'm not sure exactly what's going on in this mess, but B.1 looks like a craft as well to me as this one. And then I don't know what this thing is, but we're going to zoom in on it and check it out in more detail. D.1 looks like a straight up craft moving to the side with a vapor trail behind it. Or this is just the tip emerging with cloaking material in front of a bigger craft. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's take a closer look, or a different look actually. First, we're going to go vertical format just to see if we can catch anything else up here. And look to the right at the enhanced version. So we see this darker object, this elliptical thing, huge, coming in on angle. And then we have these different color signatures to show, oh yes, we definitely have some type of cloak and craft happening, because this is moving in this direction and this is coming in from the side. We even have a gap in between the two to show they're 2 different objects with different energy signatures and energy bursts coming off of them. And then what the heck is going on at C.3? We're going to look at this thing. It looks like a hand, a palm turned upward with fingers. We're going to take a closer look. And then look at this roundish element happening over here where my cursor is. There's a lot of fun stuff happening in here. Enjoy looking around on your own. Oh, and look at this darker object also coming in down on angle with something coming in front of it. Very interesting. Okay, now we're going to come into that hand-like thing. I'm calling it like a palm with fingers, like pointing up or reaching upward. What gets really interesting is we're going to look at element A2 of this, because we have a straight line coming in here. And this gets more interesting with enhancement. So I'm first looking at it like removing most of the color, just so we can focus on this element. We have a darker domed shape happening in the background. We've got weird stuff happening in here, weird energy signatures all over the place. This little thing was a bird passing by, that dark speck. Anyway, here's that other craft I was talking about that looked like it was either, this is like classic symmetrical shape, or it's part of a bigger shape with some cloaking material in front of it. See what you think. We also have these weird little capsule-like things, heading down this way, cylindrical forms. So we're going to zoom in one more time and enhance it a little differently with some color. So we see the contrast between this purple indigo color, and then we have this gray dome-like thing on the top I was talking about, which looks like a standalone craft with a trail behind it that it just came zooming in from out of the picture. That's the bird I was talking about over here. And then again, we've got straight forms that looks like a pure rectangular form. Look at these straight lines parallel to each other. This looks like the ends of little pipes. They're very regularized and spread equidistant apart. So I think that's part of a bigger craft happening beyond. So much to look at this. And when we get to A, we've got the purple and everything. And then once again, we get this standalone, stand out rather, white signature amidst the sea of all color. And that tells me that's tech. So this looks like the end of a pipe to me. See what you think. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. This is just my elongated shadow, courtesy of a glaring white sun in quotes, because this is a glaring example, pun absolutely intended, of how white this sun is casting light, or it's not even the sun, so quote-unquote sun, solar simulator, is bouncing or reflecting or doing whatever, pure white light, very unnatural. So that's just what I'm going to end on. But anyway, thank you for showing up here a while and for staying through the show if you have, or caught any part of it. I appreciate it. And it is Monday where I'm at, so the kickoff of the start of the week. If it is for you too, have a great one ahead. More importantly, have a gorgeous now. And as always, I wish you tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.